left for Christmas shopping. 10 days left to fill the stocking. 10 days left for Christmas shopping. Only got 10 days more. Only got 10.
Oi! Did you hear what the man said? Only 10 more shopping days till Christmas.
Shopgear.com.
The following is a presentation of the Gear Radio Network.
What's up, rock soldiers? This is the Rockstar Robbie Vegas coming at you with another episode of All Bets Are Off. Today, we're diving back into the wrestling scene. We're talking to Cheryl Rusa. You may know her better as Lightning from the original Glow. I'm not talking about Netflix. I'm not talking about this remake mockumentary that's going on right now. I'm talking about the original Glow from the 1980s, and we are going to talk to Cheryl about her wrestling career, how she got into it, what she's done since, and what she thinks of the Glow that is going on right now on Netflix as we speak. Before we dig into that, I do just want to remind all of you that I need to talk about our sponsors, Unchained Muscle. UnchainedMuscle.uk for all your workout needs. I'm talking gym bags, shaker bottles, hats, any kind of clothes for men and women. And of course, our Vegas 20 saves you 20% at checkout. Now, without further ado, let's get into this interview with Cheryl.
All bad guys will be in mourning. When I issue my storm warning, I take to the air and I give fight, and they will know they've seen the light.
All right, Cheryl, so the first thing I want to do is say thank you for taking time out of your schedule to be here with us today. I truly, truly appreciate having you.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So let's kind of just dig right into this. I don't want to take up too much of your time. So I need to know, so before being cast for the original Glow, were you a fan of professional wrestling?
I wasn't watching it avidly. I mean, when I was younger, my brother and I used to watch it and wrestle around the living room. We would watch, like, old school, I think it was like NWA. We would be like fake. We'd be go back and forth watching it, fake, real, and then we get into an argument over what was fake and what was real, and then we'd start fighting. Basically, that's what caused the fight.
So that was your wrestling training, was fighting about whether it was real or fake. So how did you end up being cast for Glow?
Well, I was training people in the gym, and I was doing art, and always total athlete type of person. I was my brother's little brother, and I decided I wanted to do, I want to be in the movies. I want to do that. So I got into an acting class, and I had probably had maybe 12 weeks worth of acting classes, 12. They did, 12 times an hour and a half class or 2 hour. I don't know how long the classes were. I don't even remember. And I was watching Saturday morning cartoons with my boyfriend. And then, of course, the cartoons ended. And then this show Glow came on. He's all, hey, check out this show. So I'm watching this show with him, which is the first season of Glow. It first started airing.
Yeah.
And I'm watching this with him, and I'm thinking, this is stupid. And I said, this is stupid. And he's all, you're just jealous. I go, what do you mean I'm jealous? He's all, you're just jealous. They're on TV and you're not. And I'm like, nuh-uh. And he's like, uh-huh, nuh-uh, back and forth like kids. He totally aggravated the hell out of me and pissed me off. And then a week later, Saturday morning again, cartoons, Glow starts to air. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm going to try to watch this stupid show because he likes it. So I'm watching it, I'm trying to make an effort to watch this show. And I'm thinking I can do that. I mean, it looked fun, the rolling around and stuff. And I thought I could do that. And then I said it to him. I go, I can do that. And he starts laughing at me. I go, what? He's all, they kick your ass. I'm like, nuh-uh. He's like, uh-huh. Back and forth again. God, he got me so mad. Argument. And at the end of that show, there was a tag. At the end of the show, they were already looking for new Glow girls. And it said, if you got the stuff to be a Glow girl. He made me so mad, I faked a resume and just sent it to them. And then they contacted me.
So you got your initial job at Glow with a fake resume.
Yes, basically. A fake resume and a photo, of course. I had just done body shots, bikini body shots, because I was thinking I was going to be a competitive bodybuilder.
Oh, okay. So then you get hired for Glow, and your character was named Lightning, and you were supposed to be a superhero. So how did you end up with that persona?
When I got there were, a ton of girls auditioning, and basically I got past 3 interviews, and then we had to go to Vegas into the ring, and there was a ton of girls, and we were training 4-hour shift in the morning, 4-hour shift in the afternoon, 6 days a week. It was basically like one big long audition, because girls were just dropping like flies, or maybe they'd hurt themselves and they'd be out of it, and narrowed down to who, X amount of girls left. And they were keeping girls, too, because they had in mind, I want to replace this girl who's not coming back. So they were rehashing characters like Tina and Ashley became Roxy and Tiffany.
Okay.
And then they made a second Corporal Kelly, just certain characters. They were trying to do another. They did 2 more cheerleaders. And everybody in the group everybody was named, and I was still there with everybody. We were still training.
Mm-hmm.
I did not have a name, and I was all stressed out about it because I was the only one not named. I'm like, oh shit, they're going to kick me out. And I found out later that they just couldn't figure me out because all the small girls my size that came before me became little somebody other, little Feather, little Egypt, little Fiji.
Uh-huh.
And they were there just to get beat up and rescued. And they didn't know how to peg me because I was muscular, strong, fast. I was little, but I was like a little powerhouse from all my weight training.
Right.
And my boy, upbringing with my brother.
Mm-hmm.
But the writer, Steve Glantz, thank goodness, he came up with he thought about naming me Lightning Bug. This was before they didn't quite peg the superhero thing yet. And then Sally and Sally's mom's daughter, the Glow girls that were from before, started coming back in because we had enough training where we could all start working together. And Sally brought Thunderbolt in tow. And Thunderbolt was my size, maybe an inch taller than me, and the writer thought Lightfoot. It was a movie, Thunderbolt and Lightfoot, and then he thought Thunderbolt and Lightning, and we'll make them superheroes.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm sorry that's a long story, but
that's what we want. We want the long stories.
Yes, and I was so stoked that I wasn't little somebody or other, and I was stoked that I was a brand new character. I wasn't a rehash. I really didn't want to try to take over characters, because at this point I'd been watching the show and I liked this character and I liked that character. I couldn't see replacing somebody.
Right.
I wanted to be something new, and I was, which was awesome.
So now, with you being a part of the original Glow, the real Glow, I should say, because the Netflix series is not what the original was, but does the Netflix show do justice to how the original Glow really was?
It's not true. I mean, most of it is not true. It has a spirit of Glow, though, and they touch on stuff on accident. They're not going off of anything that really happened.
Okay.
There weren't drug parties, and the director wasn't a druggy, alcoholic, cokehead, or whatever they've got him doing on it, chain smoking, all that stuff. None of that existed.
Okay.
And we weren't milling around the ring wondering what to do. I don't know what to do. What do you want to do? No, it was more like line up when we were training. It was basically somebody cracking the whip. We were totally drill sergeant. They were in our faces, screaming at us. It was more like an army boot camp the way we were trained. So
with that being said, are you a fan of the series or not really?
Oh, I do love the series.
Oh, okay.
I found the first 4 episodes, for anybody who hasn't seen it, just so you know, the first 4 episodes bored me to tears. It took me, I had to push past it anyway because the fans were asking me what I thought of the series. But once I got past the 4th episode, I liked it. It was good.
Okay.
But the first 4 episodes really were hard to get past. So anybody who's watched one episode and they're like going, Make yourself get past the 4th episode, and I think you'll enjoy the show.
Now, you get in there, you start training to become a wrestler, and you learn your character. Did you take to, run the ropes and bumping? Did that come naturally to you being an athlete already, or did you find it to be very difficult?
Oh, no. All that stuff came easy to me. I was scared of, saying lines and being an actor.
Oh, okay.
The running around the wrestling ring, that was easy.
Okay.
That was fun. You can even catch me, if you listen on the footage of lightning, when I get thrown, when I'm being thrown, I'm like, you know how that, when you drop down on a roller coaster and you scream?
Yes.
That's exactly what I'm doing. And it's like, ah! And they've got it covered with cheers and boos and stuff. Not that there weren't cheers and boos, or that's burying my scream, but you can hear me.
Right.
Because it was fun to me. Getting thrown was fun. Jumping off the 3rd rope was a blast. When they first started separating flyers from bases for the training, I had to climb up. First thing I had to do was do a cross-body off the 3rd rope.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And all the girls were, jumping down, they were, getting really low and trying to jump off the 3rd rope. And I got up there, and Nunuchka was the one who was going to catch me. She was a wonderful wrestler. She said to me, okay, go ahead and jump. And she was way too close. I knew I could jump over her head. I just knew I could. And not that I've ever done it before. I just knew,
Yeah.
I can go fast there. And I told her, I go, you're too close. She's all, no. And I'm like, yeah, you're too close. So she took a step back, and I'm like, you're still too close, right? And she's all, no, you got to jump from there. I'm like, okay, so I just jumped up and out as high as I could, and I basically rode just almost, I went over her head pretty much. I had one hand touching her shoulder and one on the top of her head as we went. And she's like, okay.
And then you proved to your boyfriend that you could do it.
There you go. No, the next time we did it, go up and do it again, she took that step back, and then it was good.
Okay, very cool.
They had smiles on their faces that I had no fear. And I honestly think that my no fear of height helped some of the other girls that were a little bit skittish,
Yeah. So you take to wrestling, fairly quickly, you love it, and then Glow ends, but you continue to wrestle for promotions in the U.S. and in Japan, right?
Yes. Well, I really did enjoy the wrestling. I thought it was fun, and I wanted to know more, and I started getting random calls, people that had my phone number. I ended up doing a couple of indie things, 2 or 3 indie shows, and I still wasn't fully trained, and then LPWA called me, and I decided that I wanted to do this because they were going to actually send me to one of the real wrestling schools back east. And then they started shooting without sending me to the real wrestling schools back east.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, yeah, I was totally out of my depth. In Glow, I was like, give me something to wrestle and don't put me in front of the camera to spit out lines. When I was there in LPWA, I'm like, give me some lines, put me in front of the camera for lines, and because the girls were so well trained, and there were some mean ones there. They were shooting with me and stuff, and I could take a good hit. But they hated Glow girls.
Oh, wow, okay.
Oh, yeah, they hated Glow girls. The ones that didn't give me flack were I call them consummate professionals. They made an effort to make me look good when I wasn't fully trained, and to give me, some moments and not just try to run me over in the ring.
Right.
I finally got some training while I was working for LPWA. Susan Sexton, they had her take me and another couple of girls that just needed a teeny bit more training and caught me up with how to basically work a match freestyle, be a technician, the names of stuff, because Glow renamed everything. I had no idea what anything was because somebody would say some name of something, and I actually knew the move, but I didn't know that name they were spitting out.
Gotcha, okay.
I've learned the difference between what Glow renamed stuff versus what it's really named.
So how did you like working the wrestling scene outside of Glow? Did you prefer Glow, or did you prefer basically you were on the indie scene, being an independent wrestler after that. So which one did you prefer?
God, as an athlete, I preferred the pro wrestling. It was just a blast because you get in the ring with a complete stranger and you work a killer match, wrestle 10, 15 minutes, and you can just keep going. You don't stall, and everything works out right.
Yeah.
You know, just thinking things up as you went along, other than working out a couple of high spots and knowing what the finish was. Everything in between was just, I loved the thought that went into it and the thinking 5 jumps ahead like a chess game.
Yes.
And I had all that, I really appreciated all my time with Glow because I would run across a lot of pro girls that were very subdued and they were excellent wrestlers, but they did not know how to own their personas.
Okay.
And I walked away from Glow owning Lightning, the superhero, and being like owning the audience, basically. You know, the way the bigger, the ones, you know, that stand out in like the WWE, you've got your Hulk Hogan's and your The Rock, the ones that end up being really popular, wrestling skills aside, they owned who they were in the ring and their character. They put it out there, lock, stock, and barrel, and that made me, because of the glow, that made me a 10 times better wrestler. When I did learn all my pro moves, I had all that Glow experience and background and publicity.
Right.
Behind me. That's how the Japan saw me. They saw me at LPWA and asked me to come to Japan. And there, besides getting trained by Sue Sexton, went out to Japan a couple of times and really, really the best wrestling in the world. You can't do anything but get better when you're out there.
Okay, absolutely. And I mean, obviously, too, you took it incredibly seriously because you're out there on the after Glow is over and you become women's champion of a few different companies, AIWA and PCCW. So, you know, I don't know, I can't speak for everybody who was in that era, but it seemed like you did very well for yourself after the fact, whereas a lot of people did not.
Well, I think a lot of them didn't even want to be wrestlers, and it's not like I started out, I want to be a wrestler. I wanted to do TV, you know, and I just was, my tomboyness or whatever, just loved wrestling. Just tickled me to just do some flipping, flying move and, you know, Hurricane Rana's Frankenstein or different versions of Hurricane Rana's Frankenstein or scissors out of the corner, missile drops off the third rope. I don't know, every time I jump and fly, it just felt so much fun.
That's
you know,
awesome.
I remembered one time in the ring, it must have been 10 or 11 years after I'd been wrestling. It was really weird. It was like I'm down on the ground, my face is in the mat in the middle of this match, and I had this total thought come over me, and I'm getting paid to do this. And I just started laughing. So I'm hiding my face in the mat because I can't stop laughing. I'm like, fuck, I gotta stop laughing. I've gotta get back up and keep wrestling. It took all I could do to just stop it, you know, because, I mean, if you knew me, you could see my chest, you know, heaving up and down laughing.
Wow. Okay.
But I pulled it together and I finished that match, and it still makes me laugh thinking about that moment. It's like I was really, really happy to be a wrestler, because it just, I don't know how to explain it to anybody who's not a wrestler. It's just really, really thrilling. And I got asked by a reporter about it one time. Fred Rogan, actually. I said, it's like, they asked me why I did it. I said, it's like a roller coaster ride. You go for the thrill.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
Being in the business myself, it's just an adrenaline rush like no other.
Yeah,
and,
it really is.
And it's
I'm still in the movie industry, you know. The wrestling kind of curtailed me over. I do some acting, but most of the stuff I do is stunt work, which, same thing, it's that thrill.
Yeah, and that brings me into my next question, because it's no surprise that you would get into stunt work if you loved wrestling so much. But there's a few films specifically that I wanted to ask you about. So you were credited in All Cheerleaders Die, The Devil's Rejects, and because of that, we talk a lot about horror movies on this show, and I wanted to know, what were your roles in those two films specifically, and were you a fan of horror movies as a genre prior to doing that?
I don't know. Personally, I don't know anybody who hates horror movies. I love horror movies. They're fun, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the only type of scary movie that I really don't, I don't really like that much is the ones that are just simple to where that, you know, the storyline's the same, and the 3 and 4 and episode number 8, and it's still the same story, like nothing has actually changed in the story.
Right.
You like doing Home Alone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it's still the same Home Alone first story.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, let's see. Name one of those movies again. I'm sorry, I've done a lot of horror movies.
The two that I saw that popped out for me were All Cheerleaders Die and The Devil's Rejects.
Okay. Well, The Devil's Rejects, I wasn't any part in Devil's Rejects. They had these guys, some of the actors tied to chairs, and they lit this wood cabin on fire, literally lit it on fire inside the cabin. And I was just fire safety. I was standing on the sidelines with 4 other stunt guys with fire extinguishers.
Oh, okay.
Because this was an old cabin. I mean, it could have went up like a Roman candle.
Right.
And we had fire suits on, and basically we had our job. I was told if the whole room catches on fire, and these actors were tied up, and you never know. I mean, maybe we can't get them untied. We had, what are they called, workmen? Mm-hmm. The knives. We all had blades in case we could reach somebody and cut their ropes if we needed to, and we had the fire extinguishers. Now, we were going to be the last ones out of that house. We were going to make sure all the cast, the crew, cameramen, the house was filled with as small crew as they could, but it was a lot of people in there in the scene.
Wow.
So if you remember that house burning up, I was just behind the scenes waiting to, nothing. I mean, it did start getting really hot in there, but we got the fire out, and we didn't have to, we did it 2 or 3 times. They had to do it all over again. And each time you do it, of course, what you're lighting on fire is going to want to burn easier.
Right. So
anyway,
you're like sidelines waiting to save a life, no pressure.
Yes. It's called safety, stunt safety.
Wow. Okay.
And the other one, All Cheerleaders Die. I was a cheerleader. The storyline is a football team mean to the cheerleaders for some reason, or one specific girl. I haven't seen the whole movie, just clips of it. But the football players drive the girls off the road, and they crash their car in a lake, and they get killed. Uh-huh. And this other girl who's a witch sees the car go off the road, and she comes down and saves all the cheerleaders. I had to, in that specific scene, I had to float down the river. This was Kern River. It was like December. The water temperature was 30 degrees at like 1 o'clock in the morning. So I was
oh my God.
Kern River is a river that moves. It's got rapids and stuff.
Yeah.
Where we were at, it wasn't heavy rapid, but the water was still moving. So they had boats and nets down at the other end in case I got far down the river. They could reel me in.
Wow. Because
you couldn't move in that water. I had to put my face flat in the water, hold my breath as I went down the water, and I had to do the take like 3 or 4 times. And the second your face hit that cold water, you felt like you had no oxygen in your lungs.
Wow.
So I took a deep breath in, I put my head in the water, and instantly I wanted to come up and take a breath. Instantly. It was like, it felt like I'd been underwater holding my breath for a minute, and I needed to come up for air. Wow. And I was fighting it in my head. I'm saying it in my head. I'm talking to myself. As only a few seconds have gone by, and I'm floating down this river, I'm saying to myself, you don't need air. You just took in air. You got air. Stop it. You don't need to come up. I talked to myself. I could only make it like about 11 seconds, which is, it was an eternity to my lungs.
Right.
And then I thought I was going to come up and just suck a big breath of air, and I couldn't breathe. My lungs were frozen.
Oh my God.
Have you ever got punched in the stomach and got the wind knocked out of you?
Yep, all the time.
I know, right? But that's how much air I could suck in. I tried to breathe in, came up and went, thought I was going to get this big breath of air, and all I got was that little short breath, that one you get, that first breath after you get your wind knocked out of you. I'm like, oh my God, I can't breathe.
Wow.
And I was frozen. I'm trying to swim to shore where there's people trying to grab me, and my arms are like, I felt like I was wearing a giant pillow suit. I had no motion, no movement. I could see how easily somebody could drown. You see it on the news or something.
Yeah.
Somebody in cold water. I'm thinking, it's like, hey, just swim. Why don't you swim over there? Float over there. Do something. But they're frozen. They can't move.
Wow, that sounds rough. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it was cold. It was fun. I did it. I thought we knew we were going to freeze when we hit the water, me and the other girls. But the second I hit that water, it was like so cold. It felt great. And I didn't realize it's because everything froze instantly. I'm like, well, this isn't that bad, until I couldn't breathe.
Right. Okay, well, that's...
And then, of course, you get out of the water, and then you got to get warm right away after you're done with those takes because you can get hypothermia. One of the girls had to go in more than the rest of us. She was shaking, and she ended up getting sick. I think the rest of us were okay.
Jeez, that's a rough life being a stunt person for film.
Well, it's just different stuff. That's actually the fun of it is it's something new. There's always something different. There's a twist or, I'm doing a stair fall. I'm, fighting. I'm getting, hung off this thing. It's like always different.
Right. Okay, very cool. So let's take a second. We're going to steer away from your career. And we're going to talk music because that's our other topic that we always talk about on this podcast. And do you have any kind of music that like gets you amped up when you're doing stunts or a film or before you wrestle? We'd like to think that in the 80s in California you were into hair metal, but we won't judge you if you weren't. But so what did you get into? Like what helped you? What gets you amped up?
I was into hair metal long before I was in Glow, and I actually play the drums.
Oh, do you really?
Yes, I'm starting to play now. I haven't played it in a long time. I don't have a band or anything. I'm just playing by myself. But I used to be in a band, and I left more than one band. I left an all-female band to go to Glow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I play the drums, yeah.
Okay, so who are some of your favorite hair metal acts?
Motley Crue. Well, it's not just hair metal. I like old rock and roll. Led Zeppelin, Ronnie James Dio, band called Loudness. I don't know if you remember them. They were from Japan.
I don't know that one. But I'm a fan of everybody else you just said, though.
I saw them with at a place called the Santa Monica Civic. I saw them with two other mainline bands. I think one was Rat and the other one was Poison.
Oh, wow.
And I think Poison was the headline. And Poison was horrible. They were just little kids. They were just starting out. They were amped. They were shooting silly string at the audience. They just... they were just young, really, really young. Like I'm a high school band kind of sound young.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, they just hadn't come into their own yet. And Loudness came, it was just a band that was there from Japan, and they, wiped the floor with both of them.
That's an awesome story. Now, that being said, are you planning on checking out the Motley Crue, Def Leppard, Poison, Joan Jett tour this next coming year?
I was listening to that. I want to go. I don't know when they're going to be in California, but I heard about that not too long ago. I'm thinking that sounds so cool. Yeah,
I think it's the biggest thing going right now. I'm seeing it everywhere I go.
I hope they go to the Hollywood Bowl because I love the Hollywood Bowl. There's not a bad seat in the house over there.
All right, very cool. So now let's loop it back into wrestling here. Do you ever see yourself being involved with wrestling again?
I never really left wrestling. I haven't done live shows in a decade because they don't really pay. I mean, you go and wrestle and they're going to pay you $50 for an indie show. There's no insurance behind it. You're wrestling complete strangers, and I really don't want to get injured when I get a day on a stunt show and I'm on a contract the starting rate is $1,000 for 8 hours.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And they've got insurance on you, so if you get injured, you're covered. That the indie shows don't have anybody taking care of you.
Yeah, not at all.
You're flying by the seat of your pants.
Right.
Although it's really fun doing indie shows. I've been doing the video matches. Somebody wants Cheryl to wrestle so-and-so. The money's way better than an indie match, and it's at a ring, but it's at a ring that's just in a building, and they shoot the match. There's no audience,
Oh, okay.
Sometimes there's fun little storylines and stuff, but it pays well, and I still get to wrestle.
Excellent. Very cool.
Yeah, and the worst part about that is sometimes they'll put me against somebody who knows absolutely nothing, and then I'll hurt myself, hurt myself, trying to protect the other person because they don't know how to do, a bump,
Right. Okay, so you are still out there getting...
It's a pretty girl that doesn't know anything. She's just pretty,
So you do still get to get your wrestling fix in that way, though, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, I've been working on a pilot, a trailer for, and I'm training some brand new girls for a new show called Flow.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
where's that going to be? Where could we catch that?
Well, it's not out yet. You can find clips on YouTube. It's Fabulous Ladies at Wrestling, and I'm wrestling in the show also, and I'm training the girls.
Excellent.
And there's a few things you can look up out there about the show. Basically, it's being done by the director of the original Glow show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I am, they've got some great interest in this, and they just need footage, so they've got their girls together, and I'm trying to give them just enough training. I've been training some of them for a while now, but there's a couple of them that are, they're all good athletes. That's one thing they are doing. They're making sure that the girls aren't just pretty; they're characters.
Right.
They're actors and they're athletes. So all the girls that I've got my hands on so far that they brought to me are coordinated. They don't have two left feet like some of the old original girls that I ran into back in the past that were just there because they were pretty.
Right. You have like real athletes that you could work with and turn into great wrestlers.
Correct. Yeah. They've got the ability,
Excellent.
And they have the balls too, which is good.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. Now, before we let you go today, because I don't want to take up too much of your time, but just take your time right now to just promote any social media that you have, where we can find and follow you, your career, plug anything that's upcoming that you want to talk about. Just this is your time. Just lay whatever out on the table that you want us to know.
Well, I have a stunt reel out there if you want to see my stunts. It's the long version. I've got to shorten it up. Don't get too bored with it. It's 3 minutes-ish.
Okay.
And it's on Vimeo, but it's on a friend's Vimeo page, so you have to go through Google to find it. Just Google search and put in Vimeo Cheryl Rusa. If you go to Vimeo and put my name in, it won't pop up because it's not my Vimeo page.
Okay.
So Vimeo, Vimeo, Cheryl Rusa, and CHERYL-RUSA. People don't know how to spell my last name because I was wrestling for a while as Cheryl Russo. Little Mo Russo. So everybody thinks my name is spelled R-U-S-S-O.
Okay, so one more time, that's R-U-S-A, just for everybody out there who wants to check that out.
Yes, and if you don't know what country you live in, R-U-S-A. Okay, and that's my stunt reel. I've got, of course, my Facebook page, Cheryl Lightning Rusa. I've got a fan page attached to that. Please like it or whatever. I'm really bad at the social media thing. I have an Instagram page, and if you put my name in, Cheryl Rusa, it'll pop up also Instagram and also Twitter.
Okay.
As far as things I'm up to, I am an artist, and I am selling T-shirts with my art on it. I've got it up I don't have my own personal store. I have it up at eBay, and I'm creating my own personal store right now. You're catching me where I dropped down. 3 sites have been pulled down because of switching from one server to another.
Okay.
So it's not up now, but CherylRusa.com, Lightning1.com. You can find me at either of those when the websites are put back up again. Probably not till the first of the year.
Okay.
I think that's it. Other than, sure, the second we hang up, I'll think, I should have pumped this or that.
Hey, if there's anything else that you think of once we're finished here, you could always feel free to shoot it to me, and I will make sure that the info gets out there.
I'm on the IMDb if you want to see some of my credits. Not all the credits are up on the IMDb, but if you want to look up some movies that I've been in, you're welcome to go there and check that out off the IMDb using my name.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. I truly, truly appreciate this very much. It was a lot of fun, and maybe we can even have you on again in the future when you got some things coming up that you want to promote. But thank you so much for coming by. I truly appreciate it.
No, I had a blast. You're great. Thank you.
right, rock soldiers, so that was Cheryl Rusa. Again, you may know her as Lightning. What an awesome interview, and learned a bunch of new stuff about her, and I hope you guys did too. We're probably going to have Cheryl back on in the future to discuss all the horror movies that she's worked on. Who knows, could even possibly be a future Halloween episode for 2020. But if you're going to follow her on social media, again, that's going to be Glow Lightning at Instagram and on Twitter. So check that out. Let her know that you listened to the pod, let her know that you liked it, and let her know that you want her to come back. So thank you once more, and as always, check out the link for Insane Labs in the description of the show. I've never looked better, felt stronger, lifted heavier, keeps me going, fuels me. I know it's great for me in the gym, it's great for me in the ring, and it's great for a lot of the guys that I share a locker room with. So check it out. There's a link for it. Use my specific link and code RVegas30 and you will save a huge chunk off of your order. You have no reason not to try it. If you don't like it, don't go back. At least try it and let me know what you thought. So for the All Bets Are Off podcast, this is Robbie Vegas, and I will see you next time.
The preceding presentation has been brought to you by the Gear Network.